Hello and welcome. My name is Victoria Dunnigan, and this is my brand analysis presentation for my COMM 333 Persuasion class with Alison Lietzenmayer at Old Dominion University. The brand I've chosen for this assignment is Jeep, owned by Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, based on the 2012 SEC filing. The purpose of this presentation is to analyze 5 different advertisements for Jeep. I'll be identifying the target audience, going over the impact of the messages, analyzing the motivational appeals, evaluating how effective the ad is, and recommending any changes that could be made based on what I've learned throughout this course. So my first advertisement is a YouTube video from the 2020 Super Bowl commercial with Bill Murray reprising his role from the movie GroundHog Day. If you're interested in watching the video, I'll have the links available at the bottom of this for you to check out. Obviously, we can determine our target audience is anyone watching the Super Bowl. The way we received this message, or the medium, was on TV, and we can see some nonverbal persuasion with Bill's reactions and how excited he is to drive the Jeep. We see a lot of humor and ethos used for this. Just a side note, ethos is one of 3 rhetorical appeals by Aristotle and is defined by yourdictionary.com as convincing the audience via authority or credibility of the persuaders by using an experienced figure or a popular celebrity, which in this case would be Bill Murray. I liked how this ad encouraged peripheral processing by using a celebrity to add credibility and focusing on cues that aren't directly related to the substance of the message, which is from Professor Lietzenmeyer's notes for Module 2. However, I would recommend adding more specific features of the vehicle in the advertisement. The safety and longevity could have easily been incorporated into the storyline. I'm also not sure how Bill Murray was a good fit to advertise for Jeep based on the matchup hypothesis. According to an article written by Brian Till and Michael Busler, endorsers are more effective when there's a fit between the endorser and the endorsed product. And there isn't anything about Bill Murray that makes me believe I can trust him to decide what vehicle choice is right for me, and that really takes away from some of the credibility. So moving on to advertisement number 2, it's a website advertisement from thenewswheel.com. The picture depicts a Jeep Wrangler driving uphill through the snow into a desert with mountains in the distance. This is going to really target people who like to travel or who live up in the mountains and are subjected to those harsh winters. The visualization of the ad provides strong nonverbal communication. I noticed a lot of logos and pathos in this ad, which are 2 rhetorical appeals by Aristotle. Logos appeals to logic and reason, and pathos appeals to emotion, according to yourdictionary.com. And we can see both of those with this vehicle being able to drive across the different terrains very easily. And the advertisement is pretty intense. Comparing this to the notes from Module 6 of Professor Lietzenmeyer's class, I can see this promotes fear control to manage your emotions. So this ad is effective and allows for parallel processing, which includes both peripheral processing that I discussed in the last slide and central processing, which involves the more cognitive process by reviewing the content within the message according to our Module 2 notes. The only thing I would recommend in regards to this ad would be to include people driving the vehicle to make it more relatable. So on to ad number 3. This ad is from 1974, which I thought was exciting. Jeeps have been around since World War II, so there's a lot of history there. But this ad targets people who at the time lived in rural areas. It provides a lot of information on features and utilizes logos and provides a lot for central processing. I also wanted to touch on the reinforcement theory from Professor Lietzenmeyer's Module 5 notes. She states if a person is inclined to agree with a position, then that person will respond positively. So in this case, seeing an ad like this would really work well on someone who already had an interest in purchasing a Jeep, but may have needed that little extra nudge. It does appear to be very effective for its time. Had this been used today, it may not be as effective because the heightened competition with SUVs, Jeep would have to do more to acknowledge what sets them apart from the competition. Our next slide is another TV commercial that's on YouTube. It's the Holy Jeep commercial, where several cuss words are replaced with the word Jeep for shock value. It's very cute and creative, and I will have the link to this one below as well. So this one targets younger adult males. It's pretty simple. It takes an emotional appeal and utilizes a lot of humor. It relies heavily on peripheral processing. It's funny and creative. The only thing I didn't like about it was the lack of inclusiveness. Both men and women play sports, so it really would have been nice to see a woman in this commercial. And my final advertisement is for the Jeep Wrangler. This one targets upper class adults and was a magazine advertisement that I pulled from coraflot.com. It utilizes both logos and pathos. It's the Jeep described as a convertible on the beach. I thought it was very interesting because it involves parallel processing, which consists of both central and peripheral processing. I like how it gives a sense of luxury by referring to the Jeep as a convertible, which allows us to use that peripheral processing. But notice at the bottom it says confidently going where few gas stations exist. This gives the impression that you can save on gas, allowing more central processing to take place. Again, with this ad, though, I think it lacks inclusiveness, and it would be very helpful to see people in the vehicles so we can relate to somebody. Um, so we can see how G clearly excels at the use of humor, nonverbal communication, ethos, pathos, logos, and they promote the use of both central and peripheral processing very well. One thing that all of these ads have in common is that they don't seem to target families, though. Jeeps are big enough vehicles to hold a lot of people, and they appear to be safe. So I just feel like they're missing a potentially fruitful market segment by not relating to parents and families. A potentially successful marketing campaign could be to highlight whether it's off roading, taking kids to school, or having a date night. There is a Jeep for everyone and every occasion. So I would recommend considering that in the future advertisements. But despite the room for improvement, Jeeps are very visually recognizable and do well at selling themselves. So I appreciate you taking the time to view my presentation. And as always, to make an informed and successful decision and avoid any cognitive dissonance or buyer's remorse, always use parallel processing when deciding on large, expensive purchases.